Hi, I'm Martin Taylor, and I'm here in Yoshi's in Oakland, California, with three of my great friends. We are the Great Guitars continued from the very early days. First of all, we have this gentleman here, Mr. Frank Vignola, Vinny Raniolo, and Peppino D'Agostino. Now, I'm the only non-Italian, so I'm thinking of changing my name to Martino Talori. The Great Guitars was started in the 70s, in the early 1970s, in Australia, and there was a promoter in Australia that brought out Barney Kessel, Herb Ellis, and Charlie Bird, and he called them the Great Guitars. And over the years, they toured all over the place, all over the world. Herb Ellis would sometimes take off and go back to work with Oscar Peterson, and when that happened, another guitar player would come in. Sometimes it would be Tal Farlow, Mundell Lowe, Bucky Pizzarelli, and I was also part of that group as well for a while. So I figured it would be nice to carry on the tradition of those great guys, and I couldn't think of a better bunch of guitar players than the guy sitting with me.
Now, I remember hearing the Great Guitars for the first time on public television, on PBS. My father called me in. I must have been probably 10 years old. And my dad called me and he said, "Come in here, look at this. These are three of the greatest guitar players, you know." And I had been studying jazz, and I remember seeing that for the first time, and I was just knocked out. Have you turned 18 yet?
I have. I'm actually going to be 30 in a few months. Yeah, wow. the big 3-0. Well, I first heard the Great Guitars on YouTube, a beautiful thing called YouTube, and it was very, very inspiring. Herb Ellis is one of my favorite guitar players. I didn't get a chance to play with him because I'm just about to be 18, but yeah, Herb Ellis and Joe Pass, that duo was the first jazz I've heard. It's a great honor to be a part of the Great Guitars and continue this lineage, and with fellow Italians and one honorary. I mean, it doesn't get more Italian than this. Peppino's from Italy.
I'm Peppino D'Agostino. I was born in Sicily, and of course in Sicily I've heard those names, although I'm not a jazz player, but I love jazz. I'll make you an honorary Italian if you behave. Okay?
I promise I will.
Please do. And I'm sure I'm going to learn a lot of licks from you guys. I'm going to steal all of them.
These guys will teach us some dress sense as well.
Oh yeah, they're definitely true Italian gentlemen here.
Obviously, when you collaborate with other musicians, you have to find some common ground. So Frank and Vinny work together a lot, so they've got all kinds of fantastic arrangements together. Peppino and I worked together before. There was a few things that we could do, and in a way, Peppino is the odd man out slightly because he comes from a different background. We're from a very jazz background, so we have to find these areas where we all mix. But I love collaborating with guitar players and finding that common ground. I work with classical players sometimes, country players. I've also worked with a lot of traditional folk musicians as well. You find some common ground.
I mean, it would be a shame with these four guitar players not to come up with 3 or 4 special arrangements that are unique to us. And that's, I think, what we've been trying to do, and I think we've accomplished it.
Yeah, we have a lot of different genres of music that we're going to touch on, not just jazz. Like Frank and I do some classical arrangements, and so even though we're called the Great Guitars, I think that we really venture to other styles of music from when it was first formed as a jazz group.
What I found here in the few rehearsals that we had is just the mutual respect that we have, and how to place, with subtlety and the use of dynamic and expressions, which really makes this world close to the classical world. It's just a great experience because I really never played with true improvisers. And for me, it's a big challenge, but I decided to go for it and see what happens. And I think there's a whole panorama for guitar lovers, and not only that, because it's also about the show. Also, you should see Frank and Vinny when they play together. It's not just about great music to the highest level, but it's also connecting with an audience. a lot of time in jazz and classical, sometimes there's a tendency to be a little snob, you know, and look at the audience almost, but the audience is part of this circle.
Yeah, so you know we want to entertain people too. We're not just here to preach. We're here to entertain, and we have a good time. And if people see us having a good time, hopefully it becomes infectious.